We have Joyce Nawaguma, and we have Faith Komokea. So thank you, ladies, for being here this afternoon. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you're going to have a chance to have a chat with the audience and tell them about the work that you're doing in Uganda. So Joyce is a remarkable woman. She founded the Batanda Junior School in 2001 with 7 students in her garage, and we're going to see a picture of that later on. Since that time, her school has experienced some pretty remarkable growth thanks to her determination to live out her dream and a few small loans. She now employs 15 teachers, and they educate over 400 students. She's an innovative businesswoman, and she's a very creative and clever teacher and mentor to her students. We're also going to hear from Faith. Faith works for Opportunity in Uganda. She started as a loan officer in 2008, and she's now a relationship supervisor, so she's worked her way up to that position. And she plays a key role in guiding and empowering 3,000 loan clients and supervises a portfolio of 3.5 billion Ugandan shillings. She could handle 3.5 billion US dollars too, but it's shillings. So Joyce, you told me that you had dreamt of starting a school for a long time. And finally, in 2001, you started your school. So why did you decide to start a private school in your community? Was there really a need for a private school?
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At that time, it was very important. I had shifted to that area in 1993, so I stayed there for some years. And I realized that there was a need. In the area when I went there, there was one public school. And this public school was very populated. The teachers were not really vigilant in the work they were doing. They were not very well motivated, and they were not always at school. The classes were full to capacity, so some of the parents didn't like what was going on in these schools.
I can understand that. I think some of the parents here would be frustrated too. And what Joyce told me earlier is that the students show up to school, it's the teachers showing up to school that's the biggest problem. Yeah. And Joyce has found a way to deal with that, and we're going to come to that a little bit later in our discussion. She figured that out. Now Joyce, you're a woman with very high ambitions, and you started in your garage, and now you have a school with 400 students with many buildings on the property. And we're going to show the audience through a series of photos how your school grew physically, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what happens in the school. So I need a couple of photos. They're coming up with the photos. All right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as you get it right, I can ably say that having interacted with the people in the community, they said, talking with them, I realized that there was a need for a school. I'm a retired teacher, having taught for about 20, because you can work it out. I qualified, I had my first teaching certificate in 1968. So I taught up to, I retired in 1991. So I found it necessary that I can continue with this calling. I went ahead and I waited for some time, really, because between 1993 up to the time when I opened up this school, it was a little bit of a long time. But I could not open up that school easily because I didn't have the resources, neither did I have the structures. But in 2001, I decided that something must start. So I had built myself a small house where I had a small garage. The garage was not really good enough to have a school, but I said I should start.
And
So-
here's the garage, is that right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
We're looking at the garage.
Just behind that sister of mine, that sister had visited me, and I wasn't at home, and she, as a way of telling me that she had visited my home, she took that photograph. But just behind, on her shoulder there is that door you can see. That's where I started the garage. Therefore, on 4th February 2001, I opened up my first class. This time, I was the teacher, I was the director, I was the cook, because these children needed porridge. Sincerely, I was everything, but I was determined. So, at that time, I began my class with 7 pupils. 2 of them were my grandchildren, children of a relative around. 2 were for my friends, whom I had convinced that we need a school. And then those that I expected to pay were 3. These are the people whom I told about. I told about the school, and they paid some money. In fact, if I were to tell you what we were paying, and it is very minimum money. So
For their school fees?
yeah, for the school fees. So I went ahead. I bought my 10 chairs, 5 desks, a wooden blackboard, and a few things that could be used in a school.
So I'm gonna ask somebody to advance the slide. I haven't been properly trained. I thought it worked like a remote on
Yeah.
your TV, but it's apparently more tricky.
So,
So this is your next building?
Yeah, surely. So after having taught for some months down the year, I constructed that wooden class. That wooden class had 2 classes, and this took me to another building, my first permanent building.
There we go.
Yeah, my first permanent building was that one. My very beautiful ones. They are now very big women and men. And that teacher was my first teacher. So,
We're gonna go through a couple more pictures so they can get a feel for what your whole property looks like.
yeah. So that is, there you can see I have made a dining hall for my children. We now eat from that place. And right on the other side, I wonder whether we'll see it, we have a dormitory. I go very fast to tell you that by 2008, I had 220 children. At the time, I had 2 doors for my latrine. This had become very impossible to accommodate these children.
And this is what you took your first loan out for?
Exactly.
Was for the latrine?
Exactly. By the time Opportunity Bank moved nearer to my school, I had started building on my latrine. But I was at crossroads. I didn't have the money to complete it. And it was during the end of the year. I was expecting more children the following year. So I really didn't see how I could get over this. So when Opportunity Bank clients started moving in the villages, looking for clients, that's how they landed at my school.
Well, we've heard from several people now the importance of having proper sanitation, and even just a bathroom at a school can make a huge difference in attendance, particularly for girls. So Joyce was wise in using her first loan to build a latrine, and at that point had 200 students.
Sure.
So you need at least 1 latrine for 200 students, I think. And if we can advance the slides through a few more pictures here, you can see pictures of her school. And most importantly, what goes on inside the classrooms, which is the students learning from the teachers there. And I want to ask you, Joyce, about your next loan, because you also have accommodations for your teachers on your campus, places for teachers to live so that they don't have to go back and forth from their homes in perhaps other villages. What's the importance of providing accommodations?
Wow, it is very important, because having been a teacher myself, this was one of the problems that teachers face when doing their work. If a teacher is not accommodated around the school, 2 things are likely to happen. She may not come to school for reasons best known to him. He may even fail to get money to move to school. So it is always better that teachers stay around the school. Secondly, it is very easy for me as a director to supervise these teachers so that they can give me quality work for my children.
And do you feel or do you find that you get better quality teachers at your school if you can provide a place for them to live?
Yeah, this is very important because once quality teachers are very difficult to get, by the way, but these are some of the incentives that you can put around and they can give you quality work.
You've also told me that you provide meals for your students and some other things that set your school apart from other schools and make it more attractive for children to attend or for parents to send their children to your school.
It's true. Feeding or eating, you can even realize since we entered this place, we've been eating.
Eating. We eat a lot, don't we? Yes.
We eat a lot.
We're going to have snacks right after this session.
Exactly. So, of course, I can't afford that. I can't afford. But at least I provide the basic meals. I provide the break time, which they eat at 10:30. Then I provide the lunch. As a way of doing this, I grow my food because the fees that I ask the children I can't use it to give quality food. So what I do, I grow my maize, take it for milling, then I provide the lunch and the porridge. On top of that, I grow pumpkins, and at times when nature is, when there is rain, I can provide watermelons.
Great.
Some of these children have this as the only meal at home in a day. So it's very, very important.
And children who are not hungry are better students.
Very hungry children are very difficult to teach.
Yes.
So are the hungry adults. I say.
Hungry adults are hard to teach too,
Sure.
yes, I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to advance the slides until you see a van, because my next question for Joyce, and then we're going to move on and ask Faith a few questions. So that's my favorite one, but okay, the next photo is a van. So I want to ask you about this, Joyce, because you took out another loan, and this loan was for a van, and that's the van that we see in the photo. Tell me why it was important for you to purchase a van to get the kids to and from school.
Yeah, I'd been approached by several parents who wanted the children to join my school, but they were a distance. And there was no way these children could walk to school because of one very important issue that is coming around in our developing countries. We have people who kidnap children. When big girls walk to school, some bad men pick them on the way, and that results into early marriages.
Just to clarify, she's saying children get kidnapped on their way to school.
Yeah.
Which we talked about this morning. It's rather shocking, actually. Yeah. So.
And I wasn't in that session, but it is very. I really even find it very difficult to say it, because at times the child can disappear and is never seen again. Another child may be found, but having some parts cut, the private parts, the tongue, so the parent just finds this child to go and bury. So it is really a nasty experience. So some of these parents don't want their children to go unaccompanied. So having seen this, I said, no, let me have transport so that these children are transported right from their homes to the school. And in the evenings, it happens. The same thing happens. But we are having a challenge somewhere, because now my driver has got to make 4 trips in the morning, 4 trips in the evening. We are having a big challenge. Yeah. So that was my second loan.
Thank you,
my
Joyce.
third loan.
Your third loan. Well,
That
thank
was
you.
my
Thank
third
you for
loan.
that, Joyce, for letting us know
Yeah.
about the challenges that you have and the way that you're dealing with those challenges. It sounds to me like there's no challenge that you cannot overcome. So we appreciate hearing from you on that.
I'm trying.
Faith, I want to ask you a couple questions. You're a loan supervisor, so I want to thank you for all the support and guidance you provide to your clients and to your loan officers who are out in the field meeting with your clients every day. What motivated you, Faith, to go into this banking business in the first place? Is this a typical career path for a young woman in Uganda?
I don't know whether you're hearing me.
Yes.
But what motivated me to get banking was very good pay. Banking is one of the professions that pays very well back at home. So I was motivated to join banking because of that good pay.
Now, you might not be able to hear her, but she's motivated to go into banking by the good pay. So
Okay.
that is a good motivator.
Hello?
So tell us more about that. What that brought you into banking? What has kept you in banking? Because you've been doing this for quite some time.
Well, what motivated me to stay was the transformation I see on a daily basis as regards to our clients, because seeing the difference in someone's life on a daily basis becomes a big part of you, and
Maybe you want to hold that up. Is that going to help?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
okay. Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Okay. Okay, I was telling you that seeing a transformation, a change in someone's life on a daily basis becomes a big part of you, and before you realize it, you're running out of time. Because on a daily basis, we see people who come to us who have lost hope, who are helpless, who are in need. And all through your life, you see that you're bringing a change by the small loans that we give them, that every day they make a big change in their lives. Because you transform someone's business, and you see this business grow. You help educate a child, and you see the children going up to campus. All along, you just find it that you're just part of this transformation, and it keeps you going.
Well, with all the loan clients that you've worked with over the years and all of them that you oversee through your loan officers, has there been any particular woman that's inspired you in a way that you want to share? We talked a little bit about one of them earlier today. And there's actually a slide, too, to go along with this. There we go.
Okay. The client that you see there is called Nakaziwe. Well, she inspires me in a way that she joined Opportunity when she had just lost her husband, and her husband had left her with 7 children. All she had were small skills. Because I think she had some knowledge on salon, how to make a salon. So she had a mobile salon, and she would move in people's homes and do their hair and things of that kind. And then she was brought in by a friend in the trust group. But along the way, when she got her first loan, she managed to put up a permanent salon. And
Can I just clarify? It's a saloon. And saloon here means a bar.
A bar.
But you can see, I think they can figure it out. It's a beauty salon.
The picture can explain.
Well, as you see, what is behind her is called a hair dryer.
Got it.
Yeah.
So
Now she's making fun of me.
okay, but as you can see, she's now permanent in her salon. She managed to open up another branch where she's employing 2 people, and can we have the slide of the children? The 7 children are all in position to go to school. They are not the ones. But the 7 children are in position to go to school, even after losing their father. And she managed to build her own home. But the whole beauty about it, why she is different from the rest of the clients, is that to her we became like a husband. Because at the end of every term, her children report to the bank with their report cards, and they show us their performance. And At the end, when it's time to go back to school, the children arrive or report to the bank with their suitcases ready to pick money for school fees. So we really feel we're a part of a family to her, because to her, as in she's accountable for the school fees loans that we actually give her. So it's quite inspiring.
And you get an opportunity to meet her children, and they come into your office. And
At the beginning of it, at the end of every term, you will be sure that before the end of the day, her children will report to show you their performance, with their mother escorting them that this is how they've performed. Last time you paid, this is the time the school fees that was brought in. This is what they managed to. This is how they managed to perform. And at the beginning of the term, they report to the bank with their suitcases ready to go to school, because they are so sure they'll get the money for school fees.
that is pretty incredible accountability, that the children of the loan clients will come to the loan officer with the report cards and prove how well they did in school. With their suitcases in hand, they're ready to go again. So that's pretty remarkable. These are a few pictures that we're just showing of the students at Joyce's school here. One of the things that we kind of overlook is the amazing staff that we have around the world. And we talk about our loan clients and the amazing things that they do with their life with just a tiny little loan. But Faith herself is an entrepreneur as well. Not only does she have a full-time job working for Opportunity as a relationship supervisor, overseeing 3,000 loan clients, she herself is an entrepreneur. So when we were just chatting a little bit when we were in Chicago about her life and where she lives, and she has a husband, and there are 15 people living in her house, and I thought, what? 15 people living in your house? And tell us why you have 15 people living in your house.
Well, I also have a small production that I do on my own, and it's basically done at night, but I have staff whom I employ to do my work. So the 15 people are my staff, actually, because I produce what they call pancakes, and in the morning I have a car that delivers them to the different points where they actually do the sales.
I will say, this is the first time I've ever met a woman from Uganda with a pancake business. That's pretty cool. I wanted to show you one other thing thank you, Faith. I wanted to show you a brochure. And one of the things that Opportunity provides is training for our entrepreneurs, such as Joyce, and now such as Faith. And so I will say that Joyce is a pretty amazing marketer. She's got this brochure that she brought. And actually, I wish we could hand one out to each of you, but she only brought enough to give everybody in Chicago. So we expect now there's... Oh, she's got more. Oh, no kidding. Okay, she's brought a suitcase of brochures, because you never know if you'll have a referral for her school in Uganda. You just never know that. And I wanted to read just one thing from this brochure. It talks about the philosophy of the school and what they're striving for. And I really loved this under the heading of philosophy. It says, every child can be shaped into a useful and confident individual of high moral fabric. Isn't that a great goal when you're teaching a group of students? So thank you for that, Joyce. We're just about at the end of our time, and so I wanted to ask if there's just anything else you wanted to share with the audience before we close.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just representing the very many people behind me, people in the developing world. All that I do, all that I've said, is done by very many people in the developing countries. Time is now, because at least a group of us are convinced that handouts are no more. We have to work. I'm glad that I knew that a little bit earlier, and that is why I am what I am. After this, I'm just going to add another brick to some of the women around me. Because having gone through this, my life will never be the same again. So I'm saying, even when I go back, I want to see that the life of those people behind us, the people that I left behind, their life must change to a better life. I wish again to thank you for your time, for the money you put in, the energy you use to make the money that you give us. I wish you the best so that you can continue providing abundantly to us who need this support. I thank you. I thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, hello? Okay, on my side, I just want to let you know that poverty is real, poverty exists, and poverty hurts. On a daily basis, we see people who have lost hope, but a few months down the road, they live happy and they live with a ray of hope. It's all because someone has believed in them. Back at home, a typical African, when you become poor or when you're poor, everyone will run away from you. You will become the story, and no one will want to associate with you. But it is so different how all you people are gathered here just to think for some people who are actually poor. It feels so nice to feel that someone can actually give you a hug, even when you're desperate, even when you're going through the worst of your time. Back at home, the thousands of clients that I'm representing here, because I'm a supervisor, they would have knelt down to say thank you, and thank you so much for all that you have done for them, and may God bless you.